It was something that I was familiar with and comfortable with, and I wanted to travel, and I wanted to see new places and do something that was exciting and interesting, and I thought that was a good way to do it. So I applied to Officer Candidate School and got accepted and took it from there. People, or I, thought that I was very neat and fastidious and paid attention to detail, and I didn't have a clue. And so in the beginning in particular, a large part of the training is that attention to detail. Your bed, or rack as it's called, having a wrinkle or a corner that's not folded properly you're going to get in trouble. And again, that's because when you're in an operational situation, you can't afford to have people overlooking the small details. One of the rules for the first week or couple of weeks is that all the doors have to remain open at all times. And there were no women in the class ahead of me. And then there were 2 women who started off in my class, and no one really thought about the doors being open all the time because that was just standard. And again, it was part of that breaking everyone down as individuals. They didn't want people going into their rooms and, keeping to themselves. You were supposed to be part of the group. They forgot about the fact that we had to get changed. And so it didn't occur to me that I could actually go up to them and say, this is ridiculous. I can't get changed with the door open. So, I'd be behind the door or behind a locker. And after a couple of weeks, when we'd come out of the initial phase of training, we were pulled aside and it was sort of a timeout. And, so how are you guys doing? And are there, is there anything going on that we might need to be aware of that we're not doing? And that's when I said, well, it's really hard to get changed because my door has to be open all the time. What? Well, of course you can't have your door open. Why don't you just close it? Well, you told me I have to have it open. The ship that I was on, the Mesquite, was 180 feet long, 50 feet wide. She had a complement of 5 officers. In addition to that, there were 45 enlisted men on the ship, and they were either working in operations or deck or engineering. I was a deck watch officer, which meant that 1 or 2 times a day I would stand a 4-hour watch, and the deck watch officer is the person who's responsible for the ship getting from point A to point B and completing whatever tasks are assigned in that period. And the junior officers in particular also take turns tying up the ship and getting the ship underway. And that's another, that's crunch time. And that was definitely, I was never not shaking and with knots in my stomach when I had to do that. Once I started to feel comfortable with what I was doing and also started to trust that the people I was working with up on the bridge were, if anything was going wrong, they were going to make sure I knew it. And once I started getting to that point, you realize that there are a whole lot of people involved in this simple evolution, but nevertheless, a simple evolution where a lot of things can go wrong and have really bad consequences, and where there are a lot of lives at stake. You've got 5 people who have an entire ship that you're responsible for the safety of, for navigating it safely. And, but once you get to a point where everyone's working as a unit, it's an amazing feeling. It's really nice. Don't be afraid of not meeting the expectations of other people. Make your goal be doing the best job you can and being willing to make mistakes. And if you feel yourself getting into trouble or things aren't going well, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. I I'm not sure how to do this. I need some help here. Because, you know, you'll enjoy the experience much more, and you'll enjoy the journey much more.